Welcome to the Kettle, hosted by me, Taylor-Jeffery. Today I will be discussing the shootings in Kenosha and the shooting of Jacob Blake. I'll also be discussing the situation in Yemen when it comes to COVID response and the sacking of two top generals by King Salman in the region. I'll also be discussing the new proposal by the White House for increased biometric data collection of immigrants to the United States. I'll also be discussing the COVID task force set up by the White House and its shortcomings in the past weeks. To Kenosha. The Kenosha shootings of the protesters and of Jacob Blake were totally avoidable. Jacob Blake was a man just trying to break up an altercation between two women. Police were called, and he was simply caught in the crossfire. Quite literally, as he was shot 7 times in the back by police officers. He was later rushed to the hospital where he is now recovering and is now paralyzed from the waist down. Kyle Rittenhouse, on the other hand, would have been in the same situation as Jacob Blake had he been black. However, he was not black, and he was blessed by white privilege not to be gunned down by police as he approached them with an AR-15. Kyle Rittenhouse has killed 2 people in the protest. He also wounded several others as they attempted to apprehend him after he shot the previous 2. Now, it's clearly shown that most of the shootings were in self-defense. However, Kyle had no reason to be there or intermixing with the crowd. He knew that his presence would be inflammatory and that he was inviting violence upon himself. He was not there to help anyone, and he was simply there just to feed his ego, as he was a vigilante. It's a shame that those people have died, and it's a shame that Kyle Rittenhouse has ruined his life. He had no reason to be there. His mother drove him there, and I believe, with her involvement, she should be held complicit to his actions, for he's a 17-year-old male and has clearly done wrong. It is all fair to protect private property, however, he was not there to do so, and took it upon himself to take the lives of 2 individuals. Kyle Rittenhouse deserves whatever punishment is coming to him, and hopefully, after a while, he will see that he has an error in his ways, and he will be able to redeem himself. To Yemen. The situation in Yemen is very similar to that of the DRC. However, it is battling COVID-19 instead of Ebola. Well, the DRC is also fighting COVID at this time. However, what both countries have in common is the fact that they are facing civil conflicts. For example, Yemen is currently facing a conflict purported by Iran and Saudi Arabia in the region. The people of Yemen are currently trapped between the 2 forces of both countries. Not only that, but they're also suffering from COVID-19, which has laid waste to hundreds, if not thousands, of people in Yemen, as people die from malnutrition and infection. People are dying in Yemen, and it's a very sad fact to say that. But what needs to be done is there needs to be more international pressure on Iran and Saudi Arabia to alleviate the suffering of the people of Yemen, as Iran and Saudi Arabia have no reason to be there other than regional interest. I know it's very hypocritical as an American to say that, but I believe the United States should be putting pressure on Saudi Arabia, one of our top allies, to discontinue its actions in Yemen and provide humanitarian aid for those affected by the civil war and COVID-19. Following that, Saudi Arabia's King Salman, has dismissed 2 generals on corruption charges in Yemen for their involvement in a corruption scandal. However, it is unclear what the generals have done. The Saudi Arabian government is claiming that the generals have misused Defense Ministry funds while they were serving in Yemen. Now on to the new proposals for increased biometric data collection of immigrants to the United States. The new White House proposal proposes that biometric data in the form of eye scans, facial recognition, DNA, and voice prints would be collected from new immigrants applying for citizenship in the United States. The ACLU calls this attack on basic civil liberties as well as human rights. There is no reason to collect this data, as it would just lead to further surveillance and the possible persecution of foreign-born United States citizens. As a country that is built on the foundation of democracy and our core values of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, it seems very odd that we'd be turning to an Orwellian state at this time. However, these are not very usual times, and much like the series of Black Mirror, we are seeing the darker imprints of what humanity can be. We have witnessed the entire collapse of the U.S. national image with COVID-19 and the increased police brutality when it comes to Black Americans. What needs to be done is the U.S. needs to take a long pause and look at itself. We cannot be allowing these measures to occur because it is allowing for the basic freedoms of our citizens to be neglected, voided even. This is not what America is. This is not what America should be. People are people, and they deserve freedom, not a totalitarian state that we've sleepwalked into. Something needs to be done in November, and we need to protect people's rights, not only for native-born Americans, but for future Americans as well, whether they be here or from across the sea. Lastly, that brings me to the point of the failure of the current administration when it comes to the containment of COVID-19. The White House task force has neglected the basic measures of protecting people from this virus. They have questioned basic science when it comes to the prevention of spread of COVID-19, such as face coverings. Early on, the administration was very adamant that face coverings and social distancing would not be necessary as long as precautions such as hand washing and staying home when sick was used. However, as time went on, it was clearly shown that these would not be effective enough. That is why the CDC recommended that face masks be worn and then required face masks be worn at all public outings. However, a lot of Americans have used this to skirt around and say that they have medical issues when it comes to wearing a mask. However, a lot of people who have these real issues when it comes to breathing have no issue wearing a mask, and if they do have an issue, they generally have someone else go out and do what they need to do in public. It's a shame to see people use this as an ableist talking piece and say that people should have the freedom to do what they want. However, that freedom comes at a price, and a lot of people do not want to think of the price, as our current administration does not allow people to see the price of what they are doing. The price is simply someone else's life. Not yours, someone else's. If you infect them with COVID-19, you are bringing about the chance of not only lifelong complications from the disease, but also death. Something that you would not know of, something that you are oblivious to, if you do not like to wear a mask. No one likes wearing a mask. Not even I like wearing a mask. However, I do it out of the courtesy for other people, and I do it to protect my family. Because wearing a mask not only protects my family, not only are you wearing a mask and protecting me, but I'm wearing a mask and protecting you, which protects both of our families. Something that is not really brought up in civil discourse with this administration. Furthermore, I'm going to bring up the fact that the CDC has quietly walked back its 14-day quarantine period as proposed early in the pandemic, at the behest of the White House. It has done this with the new head, Dr. Atlas, who is simply a radioneurological tech. Doctor. He is a doctor. And his part is the Hoover Foundation, a conservative foundation. Not only that, but it has also rushed a convalescent antibody therapy, something that has been proven to not be effective. But not only that, but they are starting to roll back masking measures and telling states that they no longer have to carry out those measures as it is not necessary to protect people. With that also comes the push to open schools and open up sporting events again, something that would likely lead to thousands, if not hundreds of deaths. Right now, in my state, more schools have been opening up. I feel that at some point, more COVID cases will be reported. And pretty soon, it will be unstoppable in the United States if we do not do these basic things as recommended early on by Dr. Fauci. Wear a face mask, socially distance, and do your best. That is all you can do. But right now, we're not seeing that. We're seeing negligence on a wide scale, and we're seeing people ignore common sense as they go out and infect other individuals by not following those orders. It is not hard to suspect that the current administration is the reason why people are flouting these rules. If the president says that there is no need to wear these, then why wear them? However, it's not hard to look through his arguments and see that they are thinly veiled, that there is no scientific data to back them up, only pseudoscience that is used only to make people feel better about themselves and not worry about spreading the virus. But we should be worried about spreading the virus. People's lives are at stake. Not only that, but the very fabric of our country. More unrest continues every day, and is conflagrated by the fact that we are suffering from a pandemic. We are all stressed out. We are all searching for something to do. We are all looking for a purpose at this time. And I encourage you to find your purpose, but do it safely. Protest. Protest the injustice that is happening in the United States. Protest the fact that our election cycle is breaking down because our president is slowly unraveling the mediums in which we are able to vote. Protest the fact that our current president is looking for an excuse to void the election results should they come not in his favor, other than that of a landslide in 2020. We need to look at our country and give a long, hard look. We are sleepwalking towards a very dangerous president. We are sleepwalking towards fascism. This is not new. This has been slowly going on for years and has been ushered in with this new administration. We need to do whatever we can to fight this. We need to protect our democracy. And the only way that we can do that is by caring about other Americans. So I encourage you, again, to protest, to vote, and to mask up. People's lives are at stake. Your life is at stake. Don't forget that. And remember to be kind to everybody, because that is all you can do at this time. There is nothing else that can be done. Be kind, be grateful, and wear a goddamn mask. Thank you for tuning into this Kettle. This is the first episode, and I would like to thank whoever watches this. I am new to this game. I'm sure this will get better. But thank you for watching, and have a great night.